Welcome to another episode of the Filipino Genealogy channel. Today we're going to explore the 10 most interesting facts about former President and House Speaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's genealogy. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo became the country's second female president when she was sworn in as the successor of President Joseph Ejercito Estrada, who was forced out of office during the so-called People Power II. She was elected to a full 6-year term in 2004, thus becoming the only female president in the Philippines to have both succeeded to the presidency and having been elected to a full presidential term. In 2018, President Gloria Arroyo once again made news and earned the distinction of becoming the first female Speaker of the House of Representatives. Among all the 16 presidents of the Philippines, it is only the Macapagal father and daughter tandem who can boast of a very long family tree and can prove being descended from royalty. Historical documents can trace the family of President Arroyo to as far back as the kingdoms of Tondo and Manila, to the sultanates of Brunei and Sulu, and up to the blessed family of the Prophet Muhammad. No other presidential family has such a long and interesting pedigree. For this episode, we shall explore more the interesting aspects of President Arroyo's family tree. Number 1. While the Macapagals have always been known to be from Lubao, Pampanga, and her father, former President Diosdado Macapagal, was always known as the poor boy from Lubao, the Macapagals are actually from San Simon, which is also in Pampanga. It was President Arroyo's great-great-grandfather, Don Quirino Macapagal, who migrated to Lubao, coming from San Simon. Number 2. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo is the great 12 times granddaughter of Lacandula, the last king of Tondo. Lacandula was the ruler of Tondo when the conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi arrived to colonize the Philippines for Spain. The Macapagal family of Lubao, by way of San Simon, has an unbroken connection to Lacandula through his eldest son, Don Dionisio Capulong. Number 3. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo is the great 14 times granddaughter of Sultan Bolkiah Shah of Brunei, whose reign is considered as the golden age of Brunei. Because of her direct descent from Lacandula, who was the grandson of Sultan Bolkiah of Brunei, President Arroyo thus adds the Sultan of Brunei as a direct ancestor. Number 4. As a descendant of Sultan Bolkiah, President Arroyo is also the 14th cousin, once removed, of Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah of Brunei, as seen in this family tree. Number 5. Sultan Sharif al-Hashim, the founder of Sulu's Sultanate, is President Arroyo's great 16 times grandfather. Sultan Bolkiah's wife, Princess Leila Manchanay of Sulu, was the granddaughter of Sultan al-Hashim, thus adding the first Sultan of Sulu to GMA's list of royal ancestors. Number 6. As a descendant of Sharif al-Hashim of Sulu, President Arroyo is also thus a direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. Tracing her family up to Lakandula and then to the royal house of Brunei, and then further to the royal house of Sulu, we can then trace the family tree of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo in an unbroken line up to the most blessed Prophet Muhammad, making her the 32 times great-granddaughter of Muhammad. Number 7. Because she is a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, President Arroyo is thus also a cousin to King Abdullah II of Jordan, a proven descendant of the Prophet, and most likely connected to Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom, who is also a probable descendant of Prophet Muhammad. Number 8. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's husband, First Gentleman Jose Miguel Arroyo, is a descendant of Antonio Tuazon, the richest man in the Philippines during his time, and the only Filipino of Chinese blood to be elevated to the nobility. As a reward for Antonio Tuazon's loyalty and boundless generosity, King Carlos III of Spain exempted his family in 1775 from paying tributes for 2 generations. 8 years later, King Carlos III elevated the Tuazon family to the Hidalguía, or the Spanish nobility, adorning them with a colorful coat of arms. Thus, the House of Tuazon became the only Filipino family which was not of Spanish but of Chinese blood, which ascended the Spanish nobility. Henceforth, they were removed from the role of Chinese mestizos and became Spaniards by royal decree. Number 9. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's son, Mikey Arroyo, married his second cousin, Angela Montenegro. Mikey's father, First Gentleman Jose Miguel Arroyo, and Angela's mother, Charito Rosario Arroyo, are first cousins, and both are the grandchildren of former Senator Jose Maria Pidal Arroyo. Second cousins marrying each other seems to be a tradition among the Montenegros, as Angela's father, Hernan Montenegro's father and mother, were also second cousins. And finally, number 10. Because of her descent from Sultan Bolkiah of Brunei, President Arroyo is also considered a descendant of Alexander the Great. According to American historian Professor Austin Craig, there has always been an old connection between the Old World in Europe and the Asiatic countries such as the Philippines, and in his research, he drew the so-called genealogy of Philippine imperial family, where he traces the descent of the Lacandulas from King Alexander the Great. And as a descendant of Lacandula, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo is also thus a descendant of King Alexander the Great. Truly, President Arroyo has a very distinguished and amazing ancestry. We hope you enjoyed this brief discussion of President Arroyo's royal antecedents and that you learned something new. Catch us again tomorrow as we take a look at the Pambansang Kamao's interesting genealogical tidbits. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.